Hey, we all like breakdown videos, so let's give it a try. This is a hobby box that I opened on the week of release. That was about a year ago. At the time, I said I got about $100 worth of cards out of it. I thought it'd be cool to go back and see if that was true. So what you're seeing on the right is one short of many. I open a box every week. Right now, we're just going to take all the hits, all the cards worth mentioning. We're going to put them in our little workspace on the left here, and then we'll show what I actually did with them. Through selling, through trading, and most importantly, what I kept for myself. So first of all, I've gotten a lot of questions about where I get my prices, how I eyeball things, why it's all just round numbers. I kind of give everything the dollar bin treatment. Everything else I just look on eBay. And I give it a pretty generous discount, just based on fees and shipping. You don't count those in comps. So I'm not expecting this amount. I know there's fees. I go on eBay, and I think we're going to see very soon just how devastating those fees are when you're trying to work on such small margins. Trying to flip inserts that are $1, it's just not worth it. It took me a year to figure that out, but I also had other motives, just downsizing, making space, getting rid of stuff that I don't care about. And the few dollars that you get back from them, you can put it into something that you do like. So I'm a big advocate for, actual interactions, selling, trading, all that stuff. I don't just buy a box and lock my door, treat it like a casino, but some people do. They get joy out of that, so more power to them. I think anyone who opens these boxes regularly can tell you it's not for profit. I mean, most are probably down thousands, and they just have a shelf full of boxes that they don't really touch. We all have our reasons for opening this stuff. Some people build sets, some look for rare stuff, some have PCs that they're trying to build up. Maybe you get joy out of some sort of financial masochism, I don't know. Me personally, these are all boxes I would have opened just looking for players that I like, but I think making videos kind of justifies opening so many. But anyway, rant over. So these are all done, we'll get them arranged, and then we'll start looking at some actual transactions here. So let's get our little ledger up. Goal is $100, and right now we have 0. Great. So of course, whenever I open a box, the first thing I look for is the keepers. The stuff that goes in my own collection. So in this case, we have Freddie Freeman, Duran Duran, Bobby Witt's always a keeper, and then some maybe niche names. Here's John Kenzie Noel, Big Christmas. I don't know why I like him. I don't know if I will later, but he's been part of a PC of mine. I've stopped collecting base just because it's not really worth the space for me. But any inserts and, just special stuff from the year, I'll keep aside, and if I like how it looks, maybe a couple months down the line when I'm organizing, then I'll keep it. So when I open the box, those 4 together were worth about $12 total. Right now, I think it's going for about 6, most of that being the Witt Jr. So we'll move on. Next would be our major eBay sales, which I actually showed in the short. I don't usually do that, but I thought it'd be fun to try out in this one. It's kind of tacky, so I stopped doing it. So the first sale was the biggest hit of the box. It was this Austin Wills True Photo Variation. I put it on auction that ended at about $36. The buyer paid a total of $44. $3 that went to sales tax, $4.50 went to a shipping label, and eBay took $6 in fees. So total take home was about $30. So I'm sure any genius watching will see that's about $14 in extra expenses. And I don't completely blame eBay. I know there's shipping, there's tax, I understand. But this is what makes comps so difficult. The auction ended at 36. I only got 30, but the guy paid 45. So there's a big discrepancy in what people are willing to pay, what people are willing to sell for. And it's hard to get the full story just by looking at that ending auction number. But anyway, here's the other big hit. It's a Jacob Wilson relic. So I listed this for about 25. I think I took an offer for 20 and some change. Buyer paid $23.60 in total. About $2 went to tax, $3.50 went to fees, and I wound up buying a shipping label for $4.50, so the total take home was just under $14. Now I know I could have gotten away with an envelope, it's like $1, $1.50, but eBay's kind of weird. Anything over $20, it's not insured. So this was a bit of a learning experience. Give the guy an extra $1 discount, and I actually would have saved $3. Next was this Landon Knack, it's numbered to 74. I listed it for about $5, the buyer paid $6.50. About $1.50 went to taxes and fees, and then another $1 for the shipping label. So take home was about $4. And the last eBay sale was part of a larger bundle that the guy bought. I think he bought about 4 cards. We'll say he paid about $4.50 for this card, and $1.30 of that went to fees and shipping. So here's a grand total of just eBay sales. It kind of hurts to look at the fees and the shipping, but it's all priced in and the buyer actually pays for most of that. So one of the other things I do is I sell bulk to set collectors. This is through forums, through PayPal, whatever it may be. They send me a list of what they need, and we only pay for the cost of shipping, and then usually about 10 to 15 cents per base card. So most of these are parts of bigger bundles. I've only singled out the ones from this box, but the totals I'm showing here are already subtracting shipping. So this is just take home. So I'm not going to show all the base cards, but the first one was 10 cards. They sold for about 15 cents each, so we'll call that $1.50. Second one was 18 base cards, plus this one Mark Vientos insert. We'll say it was about $4 total. And then another one I sold 42 cards at about 13 cents a card. Get the bulk discount. So we'll say that was about $5.50. And now that we have all the boring sales out of the way, now we can look at the interesting trades that I've made. Some of these have been parts of bigger trades, but I just kind of matched two cards that were about equal. Here's a good example of that. I had a decently large trade. Part of it included this Dylan Cruz insert, and the card that he basically matched up with it was this Corey Seager, 2018. It's numbered, it's gold. I think it's worth way more than this Dylan Cruz, but he's a set collector. He values this a lot more. Probably doesn't care too much for Corey Seager the way I do, so I think that's a fun trade. We're both happy. Now, like I said, there were a lot of cards involved in this one. If you'd like to see that full thing, go ahead and pause here. I'll show it. This is an in-house database that I coded. It's how I keep track of all this stuff and how I'm able to make a video like this, is because I can just go back, see where everything came from, see where it wound up, and of course all the numbers down to the cent. So, very helpful tool. Of course, wasn't easy to make. A lot of boring, nerdy stuff, and maybe about a year of spaghetti code. But if there's any interest in this, maybe I'll make a quick video just kind of showing it off and showing off what it can do, but I'll definitely pull visuals from it here and there. And here's a good example of where those visuals help. This is a messy trade. It was 34 cards going out, but they were from all over the place. So only 3 of them were from this box that we're actually focusing on. Now you can decide between the 3 that I got in return. In my mind, I kind of matched the 3 that I sent out with this Jordan Lawler patch. Of course, I'll show the entire trades in a different video, but for simplicity, this is the one I chose for this box. For a few years, he's been part of my PC. Don't know why, but he's been looking better, a little more promising, so we'll hold on to him for a while. Trading 3 base cards for a relic, I'll do that any day. So happy with that one too. We'll also take the shipping fee and divide it out. This is 3 out of 34, so, it's pocket change, but we have the luxury of keeping track, so we might as well. So we'll say it's about 40 cents. Now you've probably noticed that set collectors are probably the best people to trade with. If there's a few base cards or some pesky inserts that they haven't come across yet, they'll actually trade you some pretty good stuff for them. Here's an example of that. It's a pretty straightforward trade. It was 2 for 2. I sent the Juan Soto insert from this box, along with an Evan Carter insert from last year's box. And in return, I got this 2021 Marcus Semien. It's a color match. It's numbered to $4.99. And I also got this Manny Machado relic. Unfortunately, the relic was damaged in the mail, but it's a cheap card. It's just going in a PC of mine, so not too bothered by it. I think shipping, I paid about $1.25, so we'll subtract that. But I think overall, I wound up with cards that I like way more than what I sent out. And for him, vice versa, because they were for his set and these weren't. So win-win. And the last trade that I made, probably the best one, I sent out these 2 inserts. It's the Cal Raleigh and Francisco Lindor, along with $7, which I PayPal'd him. Now this was when Cal Raleigh was skyrocketing in value. So this guy wound up sending me a bunch of stuff. One of the PCs I have is Jinter Minis. Just all the niche stuff. I really like those. And I also have a collection of food cards, food-related cards. So here's a burger, here's some waffle fries, here's a scratch and sniff card, smells like leather. And on top of that, I got this numbered Ichiro, which is huge for me. Big Ichiro collector. I think it's numbered to 250. Then I also got this Chrome Trey Turner, numbered to 99, so that's a pretty big card too. So altogether, these 2 inserts, $1.50 for shipping, plus $7 cash. I think in my book, that's a pretty big win. So you can see over the past year, I've been trading very casually, making some sales, chipping away at what I have, and it's only been about half the box. So if you can imagine what the rest of the box turns into, I think we're right on track. Of course, that's not cash in hand, but that's not really what we're looking for here. I think there's a lot of value in just participating in the hobby. There's a lot of joy in making these trades and connecting with people, build up a PC, maybe help others build theirs, contributing to the community. There's also the value of space on your shelf, and also just having inventory, attracting people that want to trade with you. They see one card they want, they'll probably pick out a few others. So anyway, that's the end of this breakdown. I hope it was educational or entertaining or interesting or whatever. Since it's the first of its kind, I'd appreciate any kind of feedback, just suggestions, what you like, what you don't like. Call me ugly if you want, don't hold back. I'll probably do one of these every week or two, so just be on the lookout for those. But anyway, Thanks for stopping by. Love you. Say it back.